Hey guys, Jeremy here. Today I'm with Brandon ONAN, the Corrosion Control Specialist with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. And today we're talking about flushing programs for schools. So Brandon, you and your colleagues deal with drinking water systems and specifically how to optimize distribution systems. So what is a school drinking water flushing program, and why is it a good idea for schools to implement a program?
That's a good question, Jeremy. So over time, what happens is you get sediment buildup in the bottom of pipes.
Okay.
That's typically in the form of organic matter, bacteria, metals, things that can have an impact on water quality. So we want to get those things out of the system.
So for a school to flush their water lines, they should do it systematically. So run me through the prep work a school should do before they start.
Sure. The very first thing you're going to want to do is identify where the water comes into the building. So that's usually by identifying where the water meter is.
Okay.
Sometimes the water meter will be in the building, sometimes it can be in a vault outside the building. Once you've identified where the water meter is, then you can look at the service line and where that enters. They're usually right together.
Okay.
So once that water comes in, then we want to go from that point where it comes in the building and figure out where through the building the water runs. And in having a plan like this makes it so that we can lay those lines out, just like you see here, so that we can see where the water comes in and where the last point of exit is. Because when we do our flushing, we want to flush from clean water to the last point.
Okay, so now we've found the meter or the service line and we've mapped out the flow of the water throughout the building. What do we do with this information?
Great. So now what we want to do is we want to cut the building into zones. And this can be just a couple zones or it could be many zones. It depends on how big the building is. In this scenario that we have laid out in front of us, it's a small enough building, we might be able to get away with just 2 zones.
Okay.
So if we just imagine a line drawn across here and we call this zone 1 and that zone 2, then the reason we want to do that is to make it so that we can make sure that we get enough flow through the line when we start our flushing process.
All right. So now that we've determined the flow throughout the building, how do we know if we've set up optimal zones?
Sure. So what we're looking for is to make sure that we're going to get enough flow through the water meter. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to send people out into our first zone and start opening all the cold water taps in that zone and flushing all the toilets systematically so that we keep water moving in that zone as much as possible. While that's happening, we'll have a person over here at the water meter reading the water meter and making sure that the flow is high enough that we stay at a 3 foot per second velocity in that line. To do that and to understand how to read that meter, just look at our website under our school flushing guidance. That'll give you detailed instructions on how to read that meter.
Okay, so Brandon, so how often should a school do this?
That's a great question. So we recommend that a school does this at least 2 times a year. The best times to do this is when school is not in session. So think about times like right when winter break happens, or right after kids leave for summer break, or just a little bit before they come back from summer break. The reason for that is because when we do this flushing, it really disturbs a lot of the system, and we want the system to have a chance to settle back down and have some use before the kids come back in.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so to summarize, a school should flush at least twice a year when the school is not in session to optimize their water quality. And it's most effective when it's done systematically. And to do it systematically, you should set up some flushing zones. And you need a tester program to make sure that they achieve at least a 3 foot per second water velocity. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me today, Jeremy. I really appreciated the time to talk about this.
Yeah, no problem. And if you have any questions, contact the number on your screen. Click subscribe for more instructional videos, and happy sampling.